Hello again, it's Noob, and today we're going to look at this Honest Dongshi Automotive wafer lock pick set, and you can see it's really leaning into that with like pretty much every recognizable brand of car ever listed on here. Would be interested to know whether Honest as a company had permission to list all these car companies on here. But hey, they might have done, who knows. Seems a little unlikely, but who knows, might have happened. But inside are going to be 13 wafer lockpicks, and this classic, very strong. So it's like one of those tension tools to keep shutters open. I'll show you what I mean. I've got a lock here with this sort of dust shutter, dirt shutter, and that's what this is designed for, to hold that open so you can get your tools in to rake your lock like that. I bought this one off AliExpress, not a sponsor, but it did arrive a little bit cracked in the post, which is a bit annoying because I do like to have the original boxes and things, but I guess it didn't damage the tools on the inside. The tools themselves are split into, I would say, broadly 3 categories. So the first category is what I call jigglers, and these will be used just like a key, and you sort of hold it in, jiggle it, rock it up and down, and hopefully get the right sort of combination of jiggling to get the wafers in the right position, clear that shear line and open up. And I have actually used these quite a lot when I was practicing to do this review, so that's just a little shiny mark where it's been in and out of the lock. That isn't how it came. The second category of pick is this sort of split double-sided wafer lock pick, and these are split so they can spring, and that allows them to sort of compress under set wafers and hopefully be able to rake open the other wafers either side of them. And so they are quite good. You could argue that a number of these are quite similar in their profile, but I have found with some locks that, similar though these may be, they actually do act different in some locks. So similar, yes. Necessarily bad, not really. I mean, like you say, this one with the this one's quite similar too. If you look at that, the profile is almost identical, apart from it's a hollow half diamond. It's a little bit different. These are a little bit taller than this, but again, quite similar. So there's a tiny amount of similarity between these picks, but for the most part, they are different. You can see that some of these are offset slightly. So for example, let me just grab a few offset ones. So these ones are basically the same either side, but some locks actually need the wafers to be set up and down in the lock, not just on one side. So you can see here that these are offset in terms of they are asymmetric. And again, that's just to help you with some locks. The third pick is this, and I've never really known what this is for. I have found it's very good at just single wafer picking, and I'll demonstrate that in a minute. But yeah, it's odd, and I suppose it might be able to manipulate some sliders or slider wafers in some locks. I'm not entirely sure, but single wafer picking seems to work pretty well. You might notice how thick these tools are as well. I'm not sure of the steel quality. I mean, they're finished not too badly, but whatever the steel quality is, it doesn't really matter because the thickness means that they are, at least in my experience, pretty robust. So obviously these are designed for those double-sided automotive wafer locks. They do work in some single-sided wafer locks as well, and not necessarily automotive locks. I'll do some demos of some of the old style automotive wafer locks and some other types of wafer lock that you might come across day to day, because these are a little bit more versatile than you might first think. So yeah, let's go demo and I'll come back for some conclusions. So first up, we have this Chrysler lock, which is really interesting. I don't know where this came from actually, but it reminds me a lot of like a normal house key. It seems to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wafers in it. So let's treat it like it's a house key, I guess. Go right to the back. We're going to try and use this flat-topped hook thing. Okay, I can feel wafer 5, and that's felt really good. Go back through 4, 3, 2, and I think that's what Is that 2 or 1? I think it might be 1. Okay, that felt nice. So back to the back to 5. Try 4. No. 3. No. 2 now. A little click on 2, and we are open. And this is very good at gripping those wafers with that nice big flat top. There's no like cut or groove in the top, but it works very, very nicely. Then we have this GM, General Motors lock, which I'm going to just use this tool on. So, and we use this like a bit of a jiggler. So we're just going to go in. Oh, straight away. That's really easy. So not open, put it in, find the sweet spot, and we have an open straight away. Very nice. Next up, we have the 10 wafer Sparrows grid lock, and this one can be a pretty tough pick if you're picking this normally single wafer picking, but I've got this split tool here. I'm going to pop that right in all the way to the back, and then give this a bit of a jiggle and provide some turning force with the tool itself, like this. And if it's not opening like that, what I can do is I can just pop a bit of turning force at the bottom here, and then it means I can concentrate on the wafers a bit more. Well, there we go, got the open, while you know, jiggling the tool. And it seems to be sort of locked at that position, so clearly something going on there with the positioning of the wafers. Moving away from the automotive locks, I've got something called a Seco alarm, which I don't know what this is from either, but it looks like it's got some electronics at the back. It could be an alarm switch, could be an ignition switch, I don't know. Got this rocker wafer lock thing here, so we're just going to go in and see if I can't, there we go, open that one up too. This lock is actually a replacement Peugeot. I think it's a 307 lock. Again, I can't remember how I got hold of that. We can use, because it's one of those sort of shuttered locks, we can use this as a sort of turner. And what do I like? I like the idea of this particular rake, and let's pop that in and give that a bit of a go. Just pulse that tension, and yep, we got the open. You can see, you probably can't tell until I do that, but now you can see I've got the open on that too. I have no idea of the brand of this, but this looks like the ignition switch on something. And again, I think this rocker should work if I get it about right. Yeah, there you go, straight away. Just to show that this isn't all about automotive locks, got a little filing cabinet lock here, which works exactly as you would expect. I'm going to pop this split half diamond tool in like that, and then we just need to rake it. So a tiny bit of top of the keyway tension should mean that we can just move this tool in and out. And there we go. I just slipped the tension out, but it is open now. Look, there you go. So there you go. I really hope you enjoyed those demos. I went through the majority of the automotive locks as I had, as well as a couple of things like a filing cabinet lock and a wafer padlock. I mean, and yeah, I think it's worth going through some pros and cons, things I like, don't like, all those kind of things, and some conclusions. So this cost me about £15, which is somewhere around $18 or thereabouts. And I think for the money, with the 13 picks that you get and this wafer lock turning tool, yeah, I think it's about right. I think you could probably try to search for it cheaper. These aren't great quality tools, but they're adequate. They do work in some of the older car locks, and we'll come into that as a bit of a con in a minute. But as far as the pros are concerned, these are very standard, double-sided wafer lock tools. They're sprung. They go through the lock with tension. You've got a couple of these sort of jiggler style picks where you can use the tool itself to go in and jiggle the lock and hopefully get an open as well. And it does come with this sort of little I guess it's a single wafer picking tool. I'm not really sure, it could be for sliders as well, but I'll use it to pick single wafers, and it actually works quite well for that. So that's what I'm going to call it for. So yeah, I think there's a good mix of tools here, and the price is about right for what I paid. If you could get it closer to £10, about $12, $13, then do that instead if this is for you. The overall quality of these isn't bad. They're made of thick steel. They're not probably the best steel, but they get away with it because it is quite thick. The handles, the rubberized coating is not too bad actually. It's quite comfortable all in all, and it seems to be quite thick, so I imagine that's actually quite durable. I've had some of this style, maybe not from Honest, where it's felt very thin, it's all come off of my hand, so these don't feel too bad. So in terms of pros, price not too bad, good selection of tools. They do work in a lot of your older style car door locks, the ones with wafers in, so yeah, not too bad at all. Are there some locks that this doesn't work in? Well, there's going to be a lot of the more modern slider style locks where these just won't work very well. I know that it's advertising Land Rover, Ford, Kia, Toyota, Honda, etc, etc, etc. And whilst it's probably true that there are some of these locks that it can pick, you're going to be looking at some of the more older locks, and that's perfectly fine. There are some locks which I struggle to pick. I did have this lock here, Weisheng, no idea, wrong key. But this one here, for some reason, I don't know if it's the density of the wafers or just the bitting, that I couldn't find a single pick here which could just rake this one. Everything will go in. Let me try and show you nice and easily, but there was no position where I could sort of jiggle or rake using any of these tools this kind of lock. And I think maybe it's because of this high, low, high combination just here. All the rakes were just oversetting a wafer somewhere in this, I'm pretty sure. So there are going to be some locks these just won't work on. But for the majority of the locks that I did have, it actually held up quite well. But you'll have also noticed that these are all an older style lock. So whether this is worth it for you, I'm not sure. Maybe as a automotive lock picking professional, I don't know. I'm not a professional, so I don't know if these tools are useful. But as a hobbyist, yeah, they actually work pretty well on a lot of older wafer locks, automotive wafer locks, and a lot of standard, just everyday wafer locks, whether that's cabinet locks or I don't know, padlocks or any other type of wafer lock. These actually work quite well. Whether it's worth it for you, I'm not sure. It depends on how many wafer locks you pick and what kind of locks you come across. But I think if you could get this for, like I said, close to a tenner, and you like wafer lock picking and have a collection of older wafer lock car locks, then yeah, not a bad purchase overall. Otherwise, probably not for you. Anyway, I'd love to know what you think to this set in the comments. Worth it or not? Would you have it or not? If you're a professional, have you ever used these? Do you actually use these on the job? Are these useful? I'd love to know if these are actually useful as as an automotive locksmith. I'd love to know that. So if you do, if you are an automotive locksmith, stick your comments down below. I do actually read all the comments and I reply to as many as I can. If you like this video, leave a like. If you haven't subscribed and want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button. It really helps my channel out. Otherwise, stay safe, happy picking, and I'll see you all next time.